Okay, so hi, my name is Ariana, and this is my informational speech about how about understanding how dyslexia affects learning. Um, Imagine sitting in a classroom and knowing that the answer to the question, but struggling to read the words on the page. Imagine spending twice as long as reading an assignment, even though you're just as capable as everyone else in the room. For many people with dyslexia, that is what school is every day. Today, I'd like to inform you about how dyslexia is and what it does, how it affects learning, and how it can cause difficulties for being successful as a student, as well as strategies that help students succeed. I chose this topic because I have dyslexia myself, so I have experienced it and gone through it with my education. Learning more about it helps me understand and helps my brain work. I hope this helps you better understand it too. So, what exactly is dyslexia? Many people think that dyslexia is simply seeing letters backwards, but it actually is a common misconception. Dyslexia is a neurological disability that mainly affects reading and spelling, decoding words. It changes the way people's brain processes written language and it does not affect intelligence. According to the International Dyslexia Association, a nonprofit organization dedicated to dyslexia research and education, dyslexia affects approximately 15 to 20% of the population, making it one of the most common learning disabilities. Another important fact is that dyslexia exists on the spectrum. Some people experience mild symptoms when others see it as more difficult and greater, affecting reading and writing. Every person with dyslexia is different. Just because dyslexia is invisible, people sometimes assume that students are lazy and not trying hard enough. In reality, students with dyslexia often have to work twice as much harder to accomplish the same task as a student without it. How does dyslexia affect learning? Now that we talked about what dyslexia is, let's look at how it affects learning. For many students, reading takes much longer than it does for other students, and they may need to reread sentences several times for understanding it. Sounding out words can be difficult, and writing also can be a challenge. Spelling mistakes are common, and organizing ideas and essays often takes extra time. One challenge that many students face is time. When you're expected to read and answers quickly, dyslexia makes it way harder to finish within the time limit. The Mayo Clinic, often one of the leading medical organizations in the United States, explains dyslexia affects language processing rather than intelligence. In other words, someone with dyslexia can often be just as intelligent or more, but they simply learn different. Personally, I receive extra times on my tests and work through my IEP. The accommodation does not make the test easier, but it simply gives me the same amount of time demonstrated, but it allots more time because of how quickly I can read. This strategies that help students are very good. Fortunately, there are many students and strategies that help students with dyslexia succeed. One of the most common accommodations is extended testing, which gives students enough time to fully process written information. Technology also has been a huge difference. Audiobooks, speech-to-text software, and text-to-speech programs allow students to learn in different ways that match how they process information the best. Students also benefit from breaking large assignments into smaller sections, using color-coded notes, reading lectures, and following along while listening to text. These accommodations do not give students an unfair advantage. Instead, they level the playing field by removing the barriers that make it more difficult to read. So, as dyslexia hurts the way that people learn and makes them struggle more, people still succeed. One of the biggest myths about dyslexia is that limited for people's future. That couldn't be further from the truth. According to Helen Arkell, Dyslexia Charity, many highly successful people have dyslexia, like Steven Goldberg, entrepreneur Richie Branson, Anderson Cooper, and Whoopi Goldberg. These individuals build successful careers despite the challenging dyslexia presents. Many researchers even suggest that people with dyslexia often strengths creativity, problems, the big picture, thinking that they learning approach problems differently. To me, these examples are inspiring because they show how dyslexia does not determine someone's potential, hard work, persistence, and the right support matters from learning disabilities. So, your key takeaways are: today we've learned that dyslexia is a neurological learning disability that affects reading, language processing, and not intelligence. We have also discussed that school makes it challenging for slow readers with writing disabilities, and they often get extra time on assignments. We've also looked at student success. Before preparing the speech, I knew dyslexia affected learning because I've lived with it, but researching it helped me understand that how it works, and also reminds me that everyone learns differently. So I hope after today's presentation, the word dyslexia does not automatically go to limitations, but instead it goes to different ways of learning and opportunity for people to succeed. And I just wanted to show that I'm reading the thing.